We have a Friday the 13th in December. I didn't even see it till now. And on Friday the 13th, the Uranus retrograde is going to be conjunct with the moon in Taurus. Of course it is. Why the heck wouldn't it be? With a Venus that's near Pluto in Aquarius ruling over that Taurus, oh my gosh. That's about to be a funky, weird day. Let's talk about it. So Friday the 13th is generally seen as a day that gives enormous amounts, like large amounts of reverence to the mothers. Spiritual mothers, mothers of practices, mothers who are gods, the feminine archetypes. Friday the 13th is like very largely associated with them. And if you're looking at numerology, the number 13 is what they would call an auspicious number because of its structural integrity. There's a lot of nuance in that. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but if you're into a numerology lesson, it's a very powerful number. There's a lot of expansion that can happen, which is part of the reason that it's associated with bad luck or superstition stuff. In my opinion, it's because it's like portal days for the mothers to come through. And, if a mother needs to come through and correct you or redirect you, then Friday the 13th probably is not going to be your favorite day. However, if you're doing everything you need to do and you have a good relationship with the mother, like the mother and the mothers around you and just mother energy in general, then the Friday the 13th is pretty good. There can be rewards that come through. There can be good random things that happen to you instead of corrections. So just discernment for yourself of what that might look like. But let's look at the astrology because the Uranus retrograde conjunct the moon. And it's right before the full moon. This is right before the full moon. Because the full moon is going to be happening on the 15th, which is, interestingly enough, also the day that Mercury goes direct in Sagittarius. That full moon, no words yet, but it's going to be great. So before we get to the full moon, December the 13th, something from the past becomes something of the future. Talk about fate weaving, talk about divination, talk about prophecy. All right. Now, the reason this is happening, Uranus is the order that comes before. It's the chaos. Now, in my opinion, chaos, this is the way that I practice chaos or associate with chaos, is that chaos is still an order. It's just an order that we don't understand or can't identify or might be too large for us to comprehend. Since Uranus is associated with the primordial beings, those are bigger than all of us. So chaos being too large of an order to understand, for me, that makes sense. But discern for yourself. With the fact that the moon is incorporated in this, there could be some large moon something happening, because earlier on December 7th, which technically is a couple of hours from now as I'm filming this, Venus is going to be conjunct with Pluto while the moon is still in Aquarius. So this moon cycle, for good, for bad, for better, for worse, for some reason, I don't know what it is, because Sagittarius, that's the moon cycle we're in. The new moon was in Sagittarius. So some sort of purpose. Sagittarius is very purpose oriented. The moon is moving through some pre-order stuff. We're getting things together. This moon cycle is really asking us to get pre-order. You may not understand why you're doing what you're doing yet. That's part of Uranus and part of Aquarius. You may not understand it yet. You may not have the comprehension of this step makes sense. No, the steps you're taking, you'll be able to look back and be oh, I get it now after a while, but you're probably not going to understand it right in the moment. So there's some pre-order stuff. And because the moon is going to be in Aquarius when I tried to put Venus and Pluto together. Okay. When Venus and Pluto, I guess that's a conjunction. It's a spelling conjunction. That is ridiculous. Anyways, Venus and Pluto together. Oh gosh. When they are conjuncted, the moon is still in Aquarius. This kind of sets us up for maybe something weird, chaotic, random is happening. It's probably going to come back up on Friday the 13th. Maybe, possibly, might not be direct either. Might not be something that you're able to be these two things go together, but maybe in a month or two, or maybe longer than that, you'll be able to look back and be oh, I get that. I can't believe those two things happen so close together to each other. And wow, I can see it now. But you're not going to be able to do that probably in the next week or so. Anyways, regardless of that, and moving on forward, moon practitioners, you're somebody who works with the moon, you work with the eclipses, you're doing moon magic, you're doing eclipse magic. Doesn't matter how seasoned of a practitioner you are, all right? This December 13th is bringing you some sort of hey kid, pay attention. I say kid because planets are a lot older than you and me. So to all of us, hey kids, pay attention. Pay attention to your heart, pay attention to your emotions. Give yourself some time maybe to rest, or if you're still needing to do things, then focus on grounding and growth. Feels like something arrives on December 13th. Something arrives. It's like it arrives silently. You ever had a best friend pull up into like a parking lot of an apartment or like a driveway of a home, but they don't text you yet, and they're sitting in their car just doing whatever they're doing, okay? Because they know they can come up at whatever time they want to. So they're taking their time. They're like taking extra minutes to get themselves together, just like sit with themselves because they're comfortable with the relationship with you, and they know they can come in kind of whenever they want to. That's very much this energy. It's like something arrives, something that maybe we're asking for, something maybe a little bit more intimate too, something that's going to help us long term. Best friends help us long term. There's an arrival. Something arrived. It's like something that's been waiting to arrive or asking to you. Maybe you have been asking for this to arrive, okay? Something that's going to help you with the transitions over the coming years. If you're looking also again long term, lots of transition energy recently, and just generally with Saturn being in Pisces, Neptune being in Pisces, North Node's about to move into Pisces. So there's going to be something that arrives kind of silently on December 13th. If you're paying attention, you're probably going to be able to see. You can look outside of that home window or the apartment window and be like, oh, hey, they pulled up. Oh, hey, there's my best friend. And they're silly, goofy little person. They can take their time getting up here. I'm home. I'm not in a rush. And they'll tell me all about it when I see them. So keep it hush. Keep it hush. We also have the dark moon is going to be almost completely in direct opposition with Chiron at this time. So whatever is arriving is also going to be there to help support our healing and empowerment. Again, arriving silently. Something that arrives silently that you're still able to see. I wonder what could it be? For both you and me. I'm interested. I'm curious. Something probably that will inspire me. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to pay attention. I'll have to keep my peepers open. And maybe look out the window a couple times. Could be a good day for divination work if you're like curious, wondering, or just checking in with your spidey senses also. That's true. Anyways, gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep doing what you need to do. Keep up your brew. Let December 13th bring something good through for both me and you. That I'm excited for this day. I totally forgot that we had a Friday the 13th this month, but we got one. It's one of my favorite days. Literally 1 week from today. Dude, I just realized you're joking. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. This really isn't a joke. This really isn't a drill. Okay, so this is going to be more on a personal level, but I feel like I need to share it. I'm not going to overshare either, but just a little bit. It might be necessary for some people to hear. Maybe, I don't know. If you're still here, probably then you discern for yourself. Okay, but literally over the previous, year and a half, kind of since Saturn entered Pisces, to be honest with you, I've been seeing the number 1213, December 13th, which is Friday the 13th. I've been seeing 1213 for like a year and a half now. And at first I was like, okay, well, obviously like 13 for me is a big number. It's a really big number for me in my practice. So like I was like, okay, well, I'm ending one thing and going into like my practice 12 to 13, something is completed and something begins. There's a lot of different ways I was looking at it. But recently it's been coming up again. Like it'll come up and then it'll quiet itself. And it'll come up and then it'll quiet itself. But I've been thinking about it the past couple days and I was like, wait a minute, we're in December now. What if 1213 is like actually December 13th? Yeah, okay, well, probably then. I can't believe that is a thing. And I haven't gotten a super clear answer of like why that number for sure. Like I have been getting answers, but like not for sure, but also like kind of for sure. More mature. I'll just leave it there. Because again, I'm not going to overshare about it. But that's what I have that might be interestingly useful. If it is, I don't know. If it's not, thanks for watching. If it is, thanks for watching. Hopefully it helps. And I'll talk to you soon. Keep up your brew. And I will too. That's true.